You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway. On this Friday evening, I am joined in the studio by the lovely Carl Hutchinson. Good evening, Carl. How are you?
I'm doing all right. A little bit jet lagged still, but getting there. But it's good to be back. First of all, I'd just like to apologise that there was no last night's show for PHS Radio. I think the jet lag has just kicked myself and Sam's What's It into next week. So I do apologise. We will be back next week. But it's the Dark Mirror Show, so back over to Kerry.
Right, we are also joined at this moment in time by the lovely Paul Rook himself. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm really good. Now, you're out and about, aren't you?
I am. I'm out at Codnor Castle tonight, in the middle of nowhere.
Tell me who you're with.
I'm with Vivian Powell and Lucy Albrighton at the moment.
Good evening, ladies.
Hello, dear. Hi, Kerry. Hi, Carl. We're Paul's Angels at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, Viv, a quick word, because you've disappeared pretty much off of my news feed to do with the paranormal. What's been going on, lady? Where you been hiding?
She blocked you. She don't like you.
It's probably true.
Troublemaker. It's not true at all. Don't listen to him. I'll dig him in the ribs later for that.
So what are you up to?
I've been lecturing in the States. I'm going back in March, working behind the scenes, book writing. So the book hopefully will come out beginning of next year. I've now got a publisher on board. And, yeah, we're doing a bit with Lucy here and there and did a bit of filming for Ghost Quest. But other than that, it's been relatively quiet.
That sounds incredibly busy. And you're still on the paranormal scene, as we said at the beginning. You're at Codnor Castle tonight. Can you explain to me a little bit about what Codnor Castle is like?
Well, you've got the old castle ruins, haven't you, Paul? It's on the property.
Just over there.
Just over there. You can't see them. But you've got the farmhouses. It's like two houses in one. You've got the old barns, the stable block. We've just had quite a bit of activity over there. We've been followed and little girl's been seen. Joanne, who's with us this evening, she's actually heard her. She was talking, wasn't she? She just said. So, yeah, it's just the early stages of our investigation. It's been interesting.
Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock. I mean, come on. Surely the ghosties don't come out till gone midnight.
Well, this is just a walk round we've done, and that's all we've got so far. So, Should be a good night.
Sounds like it's going to be an awesome night. What kind of experimentation are you guys going to do there?
I think Jo, you're... what's her name? It's got your radio show. Well, she's going to be a bit jealous. Well, I've got Norman Fahi's table here. Now, it hasn't been used since, I think, Castle Rising was the last time it's been used, and that was with Norman. So it's its very first outing. I am treating it with kid gloves, and I'm guarding it and make sure that nothing untoward happens to it. But it has made its very first trip out since Castle Rising.
Fantastic. For the people that don't know, can you explain a little bit more about the table?
Do you want to lose the table tipping? What we're going to do?
It's just table tipping, but the thing is with this table, any slight movement on it goes. So it's pretty identifiable if anybody's pushing it or anything like that. But what I've heard in the past in the stories, I'm really looking forward to working with it.
But the thing that I know about the table is a specific table. It isn't just the communal garden that you see on investigations. It's a table that came to Uncle Norm in a dream. Is that right?
It was built by a close friend of his to certain specifications. Yeah. So it was a one of a kind, and I know that he did have the dimensions on his website if somebody wanted to build it.
Yeah.
For them. But
can I just ask how is Uncle Norm?
He's okay. He's doing a lot of he's emptying his loft and his books, and he's keeping himself busy. So
last time I saw him, obviously he was he wasn't that well, was he?
No.
And I was just obviously not seeing him on social, and obviously Uncle Norm's a very big part of my paranormal journey, because obviously meeting him back in 2014 and everything like that. So just want to put a big shout out to Uncle Norm, or any other name that you know the gentleman.
I spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he was doing really, really well. I think he still does a lot of stuff for Barry Fitzgerald with the Latin side of stuff. And did you just hear that, guys? Mm-hmm. That was big. Sorry, we're getting activity as we're talking to you.
Awesome. That's what we like.
And I've just heard someone say they're going to put a kettle on, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, Norman also does a lot of work with, he's done a lot of research, hasn't he, into frequency. Are you going to be bringing that into the investigation at all whilst you're working with his table?
Well, we're just going to sort of play it by ear. It's not a strict investigation. It's more of a let's get together and have a bit of a social one, really. I mean, I'm not taking it too seriously because I'm just getting over a very bad experience myself. Mm-hmm. I took something home with me from Nottingham, and it's taken over a week to get rid of it. I've never encountered anything like this before. It was quite difficult, so I'm going very gently. Did you hear that?
No.
Over there.
Yeah.
Over by the car park, isn't it?
I do think you're right there. You have to be very careful with yourself after you've just got over something like that, because you tend to still be a little bit vulnerable, don't you? What advice would you give to anybody that feels they've got an attachment?
Go and get help. Don't leave it. The longer you leave it, the more it starts affecting you personally, and your personality, and your life can literally change overnight. So don't leave it.
I would say, though, if you're going to look for help, look for a reputable business or a reputable paranormal team even, that know actually what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there are paranormal teams out there, 10 a penny. Mm-hmm. So definitely go and find someone that actually knows what they're doing.
Reputable paranormal team. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that point. I most certainly do. Well, guys, keep me informed throughout the evening. Message me if anything exciting happens. We're going to let you go. Get on with your investigation. Really good to see you back out in the field, Viv, and seeing you back out on the socials. It's really good to see you back.
Oh, thank you. We'll have to go out sometime, Kerry.
Yeah.
Kerry doesn't go anywhere.
Viv, you don't understand this. Kerry's a hermit. She doesn't leave Essex. She doesn't leave Canvey Island, really.
When Kerry comes up to see me, I'll get in touch with you.
Kerry, we'll go and look for Talking Mongoose.
Talking mongoose.
that mongoose haunts me, is all I can say on that. But no, I have made a vow that I will be going out more next year. So, yeah, I will be meeting you people again.
And bring Carl as well. It's good to see Carl out and about.
I'm Viv. I've been out and about, but I've sort of I'm out and about. I'm just not shoving it down people's throats, so to speak.
Yeah, like me. Do it quietly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there's too many people out there, which you probably know about, and there's too many people that like to take pot shots at people trying to succeed or trying to put a lot of work into it. So I realised pretty quickly recently, over the last probably 18, 19 months, that people are just going to take pot shots at you. So you might as well not give them any ammunition, and just when you do stuff, do it there and then.
Hey,
Spot on.
what I say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. They're talking about me. They're leaving somebody else alone.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Viv, but then I kind of not agree. I think at the end of the day, there's too many people out there that are what I describe as sitting in their underpants in their mum's basement on a keyboard.
Yeah.
They've never actually ventured out into the field. That are keyboard warriors, that are keyboard experts, that are just happy to take a pot shot at people working hard in the field, like anybody else that have actually put time and effort into it. So it's better just to do what you want and do what you need to do your own journey, and then occasionally just give somebody an inlight into what you're doing and when stuff's happening.
Yeah. Well, I'll be getting Paul out a bit more. So Paul will be out on...
Are you actually making Paul work, or are you just making Paul wander around so he can sit down on the bed and put his feet up?
We've done a bit tonight, haven't we, Paul?
Yeah, we had a walk around the farmhouse.
I just remember going out. I've been out with Paul a couple of times, and I just remember one case up at where were we? Where we basically had free range of newly renovated rooms. You just tested the beds out for every single room. Salt Marsh, was it? Salt Marsh? No, not
Salt Marsh. That was, yeah.
Yeah. And we just kept on nicking I kept on nicking the Merlot wine. You just kept on testing the beds.
I don't know. Not a way to act on an investigation, I would say.
Well, we weren't investigating. There was nobody with us.
So, Viv, while we've got you, is there any chance of Paraforce being revisited?
Well, there is talk of another one, maybe not so much a Paraforce, but another one in the pipeline. Are being pushed and prodded by certain people in the States and in Ireland to do something. So watch this space, because there is a European team. Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah, I think that was a Fox, possibly.
There's a European team that's been put together, and I am representing the UK. Why they want me, I don't know, but there you go. But if I can get that sorted out, and maybe for 2021, there might be something coming for everyone.
I've tried to convince her to call it Parasearch Convention, but
that would be awesome. Anyway, on that note, we're going to let you get back to your investigation. Thank you so much for joining us for the first 10-15 minutes of the show. It's been really great to hear from you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Take care, and we'll speak to you soon, Viv.
You'll never see me again, so see you later.
Nice knowing you. Nice knowing you, Paul.
Yeah, cheers. See you later.
Bye, darlings. Take care. So, Carl.
Yes.
When was the last time you went out on an investigation?
How long have I been home? When we investigated the graveyard next to the Clown Motel in Nevada about 5 days ago.
Yeah.
That was
you're not really sure how many days ago it is.
I haven't got a clue. To be truthfully honest, somebody asked me how long you were, and I was like, I don't remember, because my brain is that addled. But yeah, no. The Vegas trip wasn't just a jolly, relaxing, bit of gambling, bit of drinking. There was a large percentage of that, but we were also doing some stuff, and we got the opportunity, which was amazing, and we didn't know about it on our little paranormal road trip that we went on to, where we actually got to film a bit of a moment for the upcoming Halloween episode for some friends of ours in the States who wanted us on. So we did a bit of a daytime investigation of the graveyard that's next to the Clown Museum.
Yeah, and you had a bit of a weird experience, which we heard about last week, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to spoil it because obviously I don't want to spoil the show that's coming out, because the Spirit Box session that we did in the graveyard during the day was amazing, because that when you get intelligent responses to a spirit box when you ask them certain questions and you're getting answers straight back. We were getting those, but the strange thing, which was kind of like a little bit weird for me, was we'd finished everything. We'd just packed up the cameras. We were demiked and everything like that, and we were just hanging around the car park of the Clown Museum, a Clown Motel. And it's a weird place. And we were just chatting, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. We were just in front of the graveyard, and I saw a figure walk between. There's a prominent where we sat. There's a prominent tombstone or obelisk, whatever you want to call it, and I saw this figure walk behind it but didn't reappear the other side. And I just thought, because of the way the car park is and whatever, it drops down. But after I saw it, when I walked up to look down to make sure that I wasn't seeing an actual person, there was, because to be truthfully honest, I knew there wasn't anybody in the graveyard, because we were right by the entrance, and there was one entrance in. It's in the middle of nowhere. You can see for miles. So if somebody jumped over a fence, you'd have seen them pegging up the hill or whatever. But I saw this figure. It was a profile figure of somebody walking like towards this monument, but didn't come out the other side. There was nobody else in the graveyard. I could describe their hat. They were wearing a cowboy hat. I know I'm in the desert. I know I'm in a ghost town. I know I'm in a place where cowboy hats are quite a lot. But it just stood out because it came out the side of my eye, which then I focused on. And then I moved towards so I could get an overview of the graveyard to make sure somebody hadn't just walked down and then walked across and not come out the other side of the monument. And there was nobody in. I knew there wasn't anybody in the graveyard, because when we left, we were the only ones there anyway. Mm-hmm. I had this weird moment.
So now you've had time to reflect on that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that now?
I know what I saw.
You're still convinced that it was an apparition, half-body apparition?
I'm not saying that. I saw what I saw. Yes, it was out of the peripheral vision, but then I focused on it because it came as a bit of a. It came as a bit of like not a shock, but it came as something that you wanted to focus on. So it wasn't like a shadow or a movement or anything like that. Potentially you could miss. I at my provisional, I saw a figure move, just head shoulders, because where we were down below, so you couldn't see legs or anything like that because it was out of view, because you're down a slight incline. When I saw it, I moved up the incline to make sure there was nobody in the graveyard, because this was a person in a cowboy hat. I know that sounds weird. I know I'm in Nevada, but from that moment on, for about 24 hours, I kept on seeing people with cowboy hats. And that's the weird thing about it, is when we got back to our hotel in Vegas, I'm standing at the bar and a bloke walked up next to me wearing a cowboy hat. I've been to Vegas numerous times, 16 times in total. I've never seen anybody in a cowboy hat. The first person after I see that moment, standing at the bar, ordering a drink, this guy behind me comes up, he's wearing a cowboy hat. I look across, there's got two guys in cowboy hats. For 24 hours, I kept on seeing people in cowboy hats.
Ooh, that's a bit weird.
Very, very weird, because...
Sure, it was a cowboy convention going on in Vegas.
No, I did ask the bar staff, because... Yes, I'm in I'm in the desert. I'm in Nevada. Blah 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 blah. And yes, potentially there could be people wandering around Las Vegas in cowboy hats. But the 16 visits I've been to, I hadn't seen anybody. And it just was a coincidence that I saw this figure, and then all of a sudden, I'm seeing people in cowboy hats. I'm not saying it's paranormal, but it's a weird link, because I've gone from nothing to people in cowboy hats literally everywhere I looked.
So do you think it's a coinky-dink or a sinky-sink?
I would reckon it's a coinky-dink.
A coinky-dink.
Not saying it's paranormal. It's just very, very strange. What I saw in the graveyard, I'm sat on the fence, because I know what I saw out the corner of my eye. I wasn't expecting to see anything, because we were just wrapping up. We were just breaking down the equipment and everything like that from the filming we did. So it wasn't like we were doing anything. It was just like chugging on some water, rehydrating and everything like that. And then I see what I saw out the corner of my eye.
Mm. So is that the highlight of your Vegas trip?
Oh, there's too many. There's too many. Like you guys, you're probably going to get bored with me banging on about it, because you've heard the aftermath, the in between it, and now the pre-aftermath, or the aftermath of the aftermath. But yeah, so many experiences. Obviously, we went to Zach Bagans' museum a couple of times. I ended up getting to see the Goldfield Hotel in person, seeing the high school, going to the Clown Museum, all these amazing places in which is a paranormal fan. We did, I did have long chats with bar staff about, in the Luxor where we were staying, about the haunted thing. And something about Vegas is some bar staff will not talk about paranormal, will not talk about ghost sightings, will not talk about it. But some of the old staff that have been working there donkey's years, they'll open up slightly. But there was one guy who had finished his shift, who was spending his tips by playing the penny slots next to me at the bar. We started chatting because we were talking about the paranormal, and he opened up a lot more. He was talking about there's a restroom behind the scenes at the Luxor where people see a woman that isn't supposed to be there, but they see a woman, and they believe this is the woman that threw herself off one of the top floors and committed suicide. But she's seen behind the there's a artist, a comedian called Carrot Top, and there's a non-public walkways behind it, which goes between a restroom, like a staff room, and the stage or whatever. which is only used by people that work at the Luxor, which just happens to be where they carried the body out after she threw herself off the top. And he openly admitted that he'd spoken to people, he'd felt stuff, he'd seen stuff himself, but other people had seen them, but they don't like to talk about it in Vegas. Because I think it's like the whole scenario about somebody dies within
an hour, I think it is, isn't it?
Within an hour, 2 hours, the room's now back up for rent if there's been a murder or a death in there. People don't like to talk because it's all about tourism.
Yeah, and they don't want to put people off.
Yeah. But they were talking about the sightings they seen behind and various different things. There's a few of that he introduced me to the bar staff that worked that told me stuff. So.
So just give a shout out again to who, where, and who you were working with on the road trip to do the filming.
Yeah, we should have been talking to Jonathan and Cece from Paranormal Voyages. That is going to be their first episode, which is the Clown Motel, which is on Halloween. And they gave us the tour. We've known them for a couple of years. They're like our Las Vegas family. And it's great. 2 seconds, there's just somebody knocking at the door. Can you cover?
Oh, I just covered it, shall I?
Sorry.
I've never been to Vegas. I think I'd like to go one day, maybe not ever. Far too glittery lights. It's supposed to be the black. It's like I've heard it's called like Blackpool, but I just think it's not. I think it's something that you could never experience until you've experienced it. And they do say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but clearly not, because Carl has been telling us all about it for ages. And if you are wondering, Paranormal Voyages is definitely the show to go looking for. And we will share the link because our lovely Carl's in it. Now, Carl's also been in another programme recently, which he's going to tell us about when he gets back. And, yes.
Hello. Sorry about that.
He's also been in another TV programme I was just telling our lovely listeners.
Oh, yeah. We... It's quite weird because obviously the programs I've done in the past, apart from one other show, they've been like just little shows, and not little shows, but they haven't been made. We're not talking like prime time shows. Obviously, back in the day, back in 2012, I was on Ghost Adventures. 4-horsed episode. Go to YouTube and watch me scared witless.
Good save.
Good save. That was a very good save. I didn't say it, but I covered myself. But I was lucky enough to be asked to take part about my experiences at a location in the UK for the Travel Channel USA, which got premiered on the Saturday we arrived in the States. The episode was called about a location in the UK, Drake Tunnels, and experience. Hello. I quite agree with your dog.
Honestly, he's very unsettled tonight.
Exactly, but you mentioned Drakelow, the dog barks.
I know, right?
But yeah, I was lucky enough to be asked to turn up and tell my experiences and do some recreations of it, as well as some amazing other people, such as Jolene, who is obviously on the Monday night show, the Paranormal Prism show, and Laurie, who's on Paranormal Captured with MJ. MJ was the producer, was the sort of UK producer / location / fixer / she does everything and everything runs smoothly. But yeah, I watched the premiere, which is the first time I've actually watched something with myself on when it got premiered. Because obviously with the Ghost Adventures, it got premiered in the States. I was in the UK. Everything else is I've done live stuff, which had been obviously broadcast there and then. So I've only ever seen it after a rerun. And the other shows I've done have just been like I said, been shown in the States, but not being shown over here. But it was quite kind of weird putting it on, watching the opening credits and seeing my ugly mug and my me talking and me being telling you about Draco tunnels and the experiences which were very, very strange. So yeah, that was kind of weird. That was very, very weird to actually be able to watch it before anybody else saw it. I'd not seen any clips of it. I'd seen a couple of still photos of the shoot that happened, but to actually see it live was very, very strange.
I can imagine it would be. And what was you billed as on that show?
It was prime time. That's the thing. It was prime time.
Yeah.
It was the show that came before Ghost Adventures new series, and yeah, we're not talking like small shows. We're talking a big show. We're talking big budget, big whatever. And they had little old me and Jolene and Laurie and the owner telling you about stuff of a location which I've been to, and I don't like Draglow tunnels, and I think I got my point across on the show. If anybody's gone on YouTube and looked at it, you can find it on YouTube. You can see it, and you can see me being what I am, my interview, as well as Laurie's interview and everything like that. Some of the reconstructions, and it was an interesting experience because obviously when I've done shows in the past, you kind of see a little bit of it, but because I was there for a long period of time, I saw a lot of what went on and behind the scenes, and they do so much filming for it to do that 42 and a half minutes, whatever it is, show. And like I think yesterday was the second episode, which was Warwick Castle, which you've got MJ on as well. You got part of the Sage family. You got Fiona's experiences. There's a couple more episodes with UK people, which you guys have probably heard of, seen on social media, and then they've got the American side of it as well. And hopefully they'll renew the series and do another series.
Okay, that's great. I want you to do a shameless plug now for Sage Paracon. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. As of November, we have under a month away from Sage Paracon, and PSH Radio is the official show broadcaster on Parasearch Radio Network. Tickets are still available. The premier paranormal convention in the UK with some amazing speakers. Go to www.sageparacon.co.uk and tickets are available. If you have any questions, if you are worried about anything, or you have anything you want to know about it, email MJ. Her email address is on the website. She will then get back to you once she's recovered from her jet lag, because she's also had 10 days in the States in Virginia. Out of 10 days doing 8 nights investigating, the longest that she's ever done investigations in the States. I know she's literally out on her feet. She's currently in her blanket fort, hugging her husband, enjoying her time back in the UK.
I don't blame her. That's 8 nights paranormal investigation. And she was also a guest speaker at the Myrtle Grove plantation.
Exactly. And that location looks absolutely... that location just... me and MJ have discussed this in the past. I can remember 3 years ago, I had this dream of a plantation with the way it looked, the driveway... And we've been sort of on this journey where MJ's doing her stuff. I'm a small cog in a very large wheel doing my stuff. And there's certain similarities to seeing where she was investigating. But it looks amazing. Belgrove Plantation looks absolutely amazing. Virginia looks amazing. On the lake, totally. She obviously did her talk. She was not going to spoil it for anybody, but anybody that goes to MJ's talks in the States and in the UK, you'll get some free gifts, which you can use for future endeavours. I'm not going to say any more than that, but what gets given out, you can use for not just paranormal.
No. And if you follow MJ on the socials, then you will know what we're talking about. But we're not going to give you any spoilers.
No.
We want you going over and checking MJ out, because she has got one of the best conventions. I say one of the best convention going on in the UK to date.
Currently in the UK, Sage Paracon is the premier exclusive convention in the UK. We're not talking like thousands of people where you get no time with the speakers. This is an exclusive event where for 4 days, depending on how long you want to be there, whether it's just the weekend or whatever, or you're there for the whole weekend, you are literally spending your time with the speakers. You're having breakfast with them. You are talking to them, you're chatting, because it's that exclusive, and you become part of the Sage. Everybody talks about it on the radio, on various different shows, but the Sage tribe is a thing. If you're worried about, I can't turn up because I'm on my own, guaranteed within 5 seconds of you being there, there'll be somebody from the Sage tribe, Sage family will come make you welcome. So don't worry about that. Just book your tickets. Go over to www.sageparacon.co.uk. Get your tickets. There is very, very few left. We're almost at the stage where it's sold out.
We are.
So,
anyway, enough of Sage Paracon.
Yes.
We've plugged it enough, and I'm talking to MJ on Tuesday, everybody, so tune in on that one to hear more about everything that MJ has been up to. So we are missing one of our usual cohorts on the Friday evening show, our lovely Mark Manley. He's not with us.
We'll give him his due. Obviously, I was jet lagged yesterday. Mark is now moving into his own house, so he hasn't got Wi-Fi, he hasn't got this, that, and the other. So.
Excuses is all I'm saying, boys and girls. Excuses. Now, do you think that Mark took the precaution of having the place he's moving into investigated for ghosties before he moved in?
Personally, I wouldn't do anything like that if I was moving anywhere. I never did it when I moved into the house I am, because I think it comes down to one thing, really. Personally, I don't know what probably Mark's a little bit the same, but I don't like to play and eat where I live.
No, but you do get a vibe, don't you, when you go into a new place? That's one thing I will say, is you do get a bit of a vibe when you when you're looking for houses. Some houses, I know when I looked at this house, now this house needed like basically gutting and doing up from scratch when we first viewed it. But there was something about it that I really, really liked compared to other houses that didn't need the work. And that's why we bought it, because I was going, it feels good, it feels right. And I know Jolene on the Monday show was talking about a new house that she's seen. And the way it happened was quite strange in that. But this is a thing, apparently. This is a new thing, that people are having the house investigated before they move in to check that there's no naughty little ghosties hiding in the gutter.
No, it's not. I've seen it. I've seen it on social, and I've discussed this with a few people. It's not just a house; it's also down to the decor, where you place things. A bit of a feng shui type of thing. People like believing in that sort of thing, and people also believing in, if they're buying second-hand stuff, to actually. It's quite weird, because I know a couple of friends that do boot fairs all the time. They'll take a millimetre to the boot fair, and if they get a spike on the millimetre, they'll try and buy the item, So they're looking for stuff that potentially could hold energy, could hold anything like this. I don't know. I've never done that. I've bought. So I buy things because I want to buy it because I like it. Quite luckily, apart from a few times when Kerry will say that on the after show party, which we have after the shows, some weird stuff has gone on.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that I went out looking or trying to see or trying to buy somewhere that was it, because I like to, when I've done an investigation, shut the door, close the curtains, and not have anything to worry if I want to sleep there, if I want to do whatever I want to do. I'm not looking for having in the back of my mind somebody worried about something that could possibly follow me home or be looking over my shoulder.
All right, it seems to be a bit of a thing at the moment. Just want to give a quick shout out down to the chat room. Our lovely Jay Lynch is in there. He's currently at the Ashmore Estates, another fantastic American location for everybody. And he's there for the whole weekend.
Lucky so-and-so. Ashmore, what a location.
Yeah.
Now, that is another location. Next time Jay's there, like we did with the one with the old school place that he did a couple of weeks ago.
The Collingwood Arts Centre, yeah.
Yeah, what a walk through the Ashmore. Because the Ashmore is very, very famous. It's been on all the shows.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and I've heard a lot about it. It's one of Jay's go-to places.
And you've got the beautiful Teresa, and you've got Jay as well. So
exactly, double whammy, fantastic. So good luck, guys. Have a great investigation at Ashmore Estates. Now, Jay has said in the chat room that himself and Teresa, obviously, investigate every place that they've lived. But this is actually people getting the place that they're interested in investigated before they buy it. Now, I'm not sure whether or not they're doing that to make sure there are no nasties, or ghosties even, or whether or not they're looking to make sure that there are.
Well, I can understand both points of view, because if you're in this field and you enjoy it, why not look at something that potentially has got a bit of oomph behind it? If you're that into it that you want to have a location where you're living that has a little bit of haunted attraction, so we speak. Why not? And if you're doing some sort of investigation to pick up on that, I don't see a problem in that. Kerry, what do you think?
I don't really see a problem in it either way. I think, though, if you're going to make a decision based on something that's not proved, then whether or not you buy a house or not, that's a little sad.
But I think there's two major elements, which is kind of quite prominent at the moment. Obviously, the UK has been going a long time, longer than the USA. Yeah. But the USA is more open to the paranormal, and everybody we've done shows on this. The US has more. They have more believers, and they have more people that acknowledge the paranormal. In the UK, people have ghost stories. People do this, that, and the other, but there's less people that would actually put their hand up in public and say, yeah, I believe in ghosts. But we've got more history. And the question I feel is it because the environment that the location is more open and willing to look at things, or is it a location where people are closed-lipped and don't want to talk about it? And is that the reason they've got America? But then you look at it and think, we've got great locations, but we want to build houses, or we build houses over asylums, hospitals, etc. But in America, they protect them.
Mm. Now, I would say, for me, I wouldn't really worry about investigating before or after, but your vibe don't lie. Your vibe don't lie. When you check a property out, whether it be wherever it be, here, America, wherever, yeah, if it feels right, it feels right. Your vibe doesn't lie. And how many times? I mean, oh gosh. There was a case in America. Oh God, it's gone right out of my head. The Bel Air House, where Kristen said that she felt that the house had picked her. And she had some extreme experiences in that house, and luckily enough, she knows how to deal with it, but it still affected her to a great deal. So I do think your vibe doesn't lie. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Even the cage, the lady who owns the cage, said she felt that the house had picked her, that it was meant to be hers, didn't she?
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why there's this, the particularly when you talk about the cage, is they haven't been able to sell it.
No.
Is it because they can't sell it because the person that owns it is meant to have it, or the person that is meant to have it hasn't turned up yet? And just a quick shout out to the chat room. Richard Clements, no, I am not ever going to be doing any dancing conventions because you don't. Just want to put that out with, and thanks, Jay. I'm not going to be dancing ever coming forward or into any in future paranormal stuff. I will keep the legs and my dancing shoes well and truly off.
He's referring to line dancing with cowboy hats, I think was the reference there.
I like a cowboy hat. I do own cowboy hats, but I've never seen cowboy hats in Vegas. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm not just having some sort of relapse to magic where I'm seeing blokes in cowboy hats and chapless whatevers. No.
Oh dear. So both of us have had experiences in our own homes, haven't we, since we lived here? Do you think then that's something to do with how we are as people? We're more open to it because we are investigators or paranormal researchers, and the way I work spiritually and all that sort of stuff. Do you think it's down to that, or do you just think it would have happened anyway, whether or not you believed or not?
Do you want to know my honest answer to that?
Yeah, I do.
I don't want to think about it. It's my enclave. It's my castle. It's my fortress of whatever. I don't, as you know, when stuff happens, when I'm on Skype with yourself, MJ will say this, I don't like it because at the end of the day, this is where I sleep. This is where I come from the horrible of the world. I come home. I close my door. I know I can control it, and I know whatever. And if stuff, and you know this, when weird and wonderful things have started happening, I don't like it. I do not like it. So I would rather not experience anything in my own home. I don't mind when I'm out on investigation, but when I come home, I want to be closed off. I don't want to experience things or little knocks, little cries, seeing people, having nightmares. I don't like it because this is my safe zone. Everybody should have a safe zone.
I can't really say a lot. I kind of invite them in sometimes because of the work I do, so I can't really moan.
I don't. I go out, I do my stuff. I'm happy for them to interact with me in whatever way they want to do when I'm out on an investigation. But when I leave the investigation, I don't mind even having the thought about I potentially could be bringing something home, just as long as they don't interfere with me when I'm going to bed or when I'm alone or anything like that. I don't mind that.
Well, I had an experience the other day. I was up very early in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I was having one of my nights of not sleeping. And I was sitting down here. I was writing a blog. That actually, Laurie Schaefer, inspired from an experience she was talking about on one of the PSH shows, where she was talking about the exact amount, it was the frequency of all the people coming together, which is why they had that experience, why that spirit felt comfortable coming forward. And that inspired a blog, which will be coming very, very soon to parasearch.org. Check out our blogs over there, everyone, guys. Shameless plug. And I was sitting here writing, in depth, tapping away at my little computer. And I thought someone was stood next to me. Now, everybody else in the house was fast asleep. The dog was upstairs, and I was totally downstairs on my own. But I honestly thought somebody was stood next to me. And when I turned my head, there was a shadow on the wall where there wasn't normally. Now, I said the other night, I did an interview with Alison Dunlop on the ADX Files, and we were talking a little bit about shadow people, and I said I'd never seen one. And I was writing a blog about something completely different, and then I feel that there's a shadow on the wall. So have I now seen a shadow person, I ask myself?
I don't know, but since we've been talking about this subject, there's some weird noises in my house.
This happens a lot, actually. When me and Carl are chatting away, he'll get footsteps above him and get weird noises happening around him.
That's exactly what I'm hearing. I live in a 3-story townhouse. Mm-hmm. New build. The land's the land. I haven't investigated the land. My kitchen and entertainment space is on the ground floor. Above me is my lounge and my office, where I will do my research, where I play around with equipment and all that sort of stuff. And then on the 3rd floor is the 2 bedrooms, etc. I know I'm the only one in this house because I live alone. But at the moment, when you were talking about weird and wonderful stuff, I could hear somebody walking across where my lounge is, which is directly above me. Yes, I live, my house has another house next to it, but their house is on a different level. They have their lounge downstairs, their kitchen upstairs. And at the moment, I know when they're awake and they're up because their kitchen light is on and I can see their kitchen lights on. So I don't believe anybody's and you wouldn't normally hear them wandering around. So I'm hearing somebody wandering around upstairs.
Wow. We need to go and investigate Carl's house, is all I'm saying. He won't let me. He won't let me.
All you want is you want to sleep in the bed that can sleep about 6 people.
Hell yeah. Who doesn't want to sleep in a bed that can sleep 6 people? That is like ultimate starfish, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm 6 foot something, and I stretch out on the bed and I don't touch the corners. So.
And that is the only reason he's got a bed that size, everybody. It's not mass orgies that everybody seems to think.
Oh, no. I'm not into mass orgies. That means people in my house. No.
I know, right? It's like we've been talking about going to his house all year, and we still haven't got there between one thing and another.
It's not like a den of iniquity. I don't like people coming through my front door. So there's not going to be mass orgies going up in there, because that means I've got people coming in my house and they could potentially not taking their shoes off or not putting the all those sort of weird.
Anyway, let's move on. Another article has been trending this week, all about another one of your little topics. You did an absolutely fantastic show with Mark on this one. Cattle mutilations. There's been a new spat of them in Oregon, of all places.
I know, and it seems quite weird looking at it. I don't know what your views on it, Kerry, is, because when you read the article sort of reads that they didn't expect it, or they've not expected it in that area.
No, it's just it seems to be like a new, for them, it seems to be like kind of a new thing, and it's actually happened to 5 prize steeds. It's not just one, there's 5 on the same area that have had it. Now, one of the steeds has said that the cow was laid over and dead, and her udder was removed with something razor sharp. There wasn't a drop of blood anywhere. Now, this has been put down to several. I mean, there are theories about this all over the place. You discussed this on the show, but the weirdest one I found in the article that said they're putting it down to carrion insects. Well, I'm sorry, everybody, but I don't know an insect that would be able to do that without leaving blood or something. They're not. How big are these insects?
Well, this is the thing, which was surprising about the actual article. One is where Oregon is, and how many sightings and of this that have happened in the past. It's not normally that neck of the woods. But then you come to this thing where they say there was not a drop of blood anywhere. And then the person that they're talking about with the surname of Anderson is basically then going on about possible other reasons why there isn't any blood, which I can kind of understand. But what I don't understand is why they're still why the article is under the ban of cow mutilations from space. If they believe that there's no blood was down to insects. And I can't see that if you cut a cow's head off and let it bleed all over, a load of insects are going to be able to suck up the blood and make it look like there was no blood trails or whatever. That's just my own point of view. And as anybody that listens to this show, you've got to remember, our point of view is our point of view. We are not dictating our views on anybody. It's our point of view.
Exactly. Now, on this one, I would say that they did look for tracks. They looked for horse tracks or tyre tracks, footprints, and because of the environment, the landscape, it's very dusty. So they say that everything leaves a track. So if it had been a wild animal or something like that, which doesn't explain the clear cut, and
you would have those markings leading away.
You would. So if it was an animal attack, for example, then
you'd have
there'd be sign of it. If it was somebody coming along and doing incisions and stuff on the animals, then again, there would be signs of it. They'd leave footprints, they'd leave tracks of how they got there, that sort of thing. And they're not finding any on the ranch. And that's what makes it interesting. Now, there are... Wow. It's one of those, isn't it? I mean, with this one, it is one of those... that is, you have to kind of believe what they say and listen to the experience of the ranchers that ranch their farms. They know their farms, although they're massive compared to what we know in the UK. I mean, they said one of the farms is like the size of Chicago. And Chicago is pretty damn big, right, as a city.
Huge. We're talking huge.
Yeah, so it's a massive ranch. But the people that work these ranches know their stock inside out. They know their landscape. They know their ranch inside out. They know their competitors. They know. They meet the other ranchers at fairs and stuff like that. They know the environment that they're working in. And you have to take the word for that. And these steeds are not little. These aren't small animals. I mean, we think cows, just think of a cow in the UK. They're bigger than that. They're 2,000 pounds in weight.
We're not talking just a light little... We're not just talking a small little thing. We're talking a big, robust animal. We're talking chunky. We're talking something that can withstand the heat, the temperatures, the terrain, the lack of water where these guys are. So we're talking muscle. We're talking beef. We're talking type of animals.
Animals.
Yeah, we're talking something that will basically... Anybody, any female, within 100 yards, if it was a male and it went, their knickers would be off like 5 minutes later.
Now, one of the guys who this has happened to is actually got a list of possible theories as to what could be calling it.
Yeah, this is the funny part of the case. We've discussed the. We've discussed obviously cow mutilations in the past, and I think on the Dark Mirror show we basically came down to we don't believe it's alien.
No, but aliens is obviously top of the list.
But the strange thing is, this guy who's lost these things has produced a list.
Yeah, I love it.
The list is quite amusing. I'm sorry, but I don't want to flippant about it, but the list is quite amusing. Because it goes from NVAA / something Conga, which I presume is a disease.
No, that's actually to do with the Vietnamese army.
So Viet Cong.
Yeah.
So they think the Viet Cong are mutilating the cows in Oregon.
Well, somebody's put that theory forward.
That's number one on the list.
Yeah.
So it gets freaky after that. Next we have aliens, Area 51, radiation.
Yep. He's
Then
been
we
told to actually go out there with a radiation counter, Geiger counter thing to check for radiation.
Which you can understand if you believe in that, and I can understand that if you've got alien craft, most of them produce radiation. But then you've got you got some real doozies next. We then got witches.
Yeah, well, it's always down to the witches.
You know, the witches have flown over from Salem on their broomsticks. They thought, I'll tell you what, I'm getting bored of Massachusetts. I'm going to fly over to Oregon and feel up some cows. There we go. Then we have Bigfoot.
Of course, Bigfoot always has to make an appearance in strange and weird occurrences. Okay.
And there's not many sightings in Oregon of Bigfoot. Because it's quite a desolate area. Normally they're like trees, swamps or whatever. But then... then we have the great one. Devil worshippers.
I know. Got to bring the devil worshippers into it. They're in
forget the
cohorts with the witches, I would just like to say.
Forget all those people. It's those little people in their little covens, dancing around their pentagrams with their cauldrons, tall, bubble and squeak. At something out of Macbeth, devil worshippers.
Totally. Gotta be. That's the most logical explanation they can come up with.
Yeah. Then they get lightning. So basically, heavy storms, strike of lightning, bang, the cows decapitated, mutilated, no blood.
I can understand them striking down a cow, lightning, but I don't think it explains the precise incision work that's done. And would a lightning remove something's tongue or udder?
I don't know. We'd obviously need to look at. Maybe that is a good show for coming up there. Maybe look at lightning hits and how the human body reacts to it. Because I don't know. I don't know whether lightning would produce the same sort of evidence that is actually happening with no blood loss, etc., etc.
I don't know.
That. But then they've obviously gone from devil worshippers to lightning. So then poison slash dart. Yeah. So they're talking about poison and darts. Okay, they're obviously thinking normal now. Then there's human. So we're going above aliens, above witches, above Bigfoot, but below all of that, we got humans, as in the people that wander around, that cause wars, genocide, nasty little people. But we're below Bigfoot. Bigfoot's obviously a more prone thing. Then we've got, I'm not too sure what this one is, but what the next one is force field.
I know, right? But maybe
we're talking aliens and their ships.
Or could it be when a dimension has opened up, like a portal or an energy field has opened up, and it's, you know, like on Star Trek, where sort of like they teleport down and they sort of like they have like that door thing, and so maybe you can't like step in because you get your arm chopped off or something.
That's a possibility, but then we've got the most evil of all things.
All things in the world, yeah.
Currently at the moment, everybody is against them. Everybody thinks everybody is the evil personified. We're talking friends of Hitler. We're talking Darth Vader. Friends. We're talking Muslim. We're talking all the bad people. These people are those people. We're talking the worst, the one and only, the killer of thousands of plants in the world. We're talking vegans.
I can't believe that's on the list. How the hell did they come up with that?
I'm sorry, but vegans is below the force field. Humans, poison, lightning, devil worshipper. Devil worshippers are higher than vegans.
I just like, these are all theories that have been given to the rancher as possibilities of why this has happened to his car.
But not just the rancher. This is also the sheriff's. If you read the article, it's actually the sheriff and the rancher's list.
I know, and this is like some of the theories people have put forward as to how and why this has happened.
Living in Harley County, where the sheriff, this sheriff has put together this list. There's a couple that he excluded out of the list, which we have no idea what are on them because he's
taped over it.
But there are the last three. It just gets even more weird. Which I'm not too sure what the next one is underneath the evil, the
evil vegans.
Aren't
vegans supposed to be like animal lovers, which is one of the reasons they make that choice to be vegan.
Yeah, but
I can't imagine them creeping around on a massive ranch in the middle of the night to find some poor cow that they then strike down.
And
leave no tracks, and then remove bits cleanly and leave no blood.
They're too busy tucked up in their little moss-kin sleeping bags, wearing their dowling whatevers.
We're not stereotyping at all in any way, shape or form.
Kale broth than thinking about, I'll tell you what, I'm going to mutilate some cows just because people want to eat cows. I'm sorry, vegans are vegans. Vegans are vegans. Not to have a proper
loving people. Not...
I'm sorry, but vegans, I can't believe vegans so low down on the list. But then we get some weird ones. Like the next one is Taylor's calves are small. So basically saying the cow's calves are too small and they died away.
Yeah.
Not too sure what that means, but then we get to another great one.
Oh, this beats them all.
Yeah.
This is the most definitive explanation for cattle mutilation ever.
There's been a number of movies recently, over the last 10 years, which has had such people as Pamela Anderson, The Hoff, various different major celebrities in it. And we're talking Sharknado. Because one of the reasons why they've got cow mutilations in Oregon is because of sharks with laser beams.
Or cats.
Well, that was the last one. Because I don't trust cats.
Beams.
I don't trust
sharks
cats.
Or cats.
So I would put my personal thing is cats would be higher than aliens, witches, and Bigfoot. Because I don't trust cats.
Cats are a law unto themselves, so if it could possibly be cats.
If I was given that list, my list would be in a completely different format. But when they go sharks with laser beams that is underneath vegans.
Can you imagine the poor sheriff's face when he got told that theory?
Yeah, but the problem is it says the sheriff put this list together with the rancher.
I know, but how much of taking the mickey? They must have been. Come on.
I want to know what the two is in the middle that have been obscured out. How weird those were. That's what gets
There's
dear. Lists which have been obscured. There's one that's got a small... Hang on. Let's see. I can't enlarge. But one's got one line completely obscured. You can't read it. The other one's got another thing, but like a post-it note stuck over the top, but you can't read it when you zoom in. But, so, here's the rundown of cow mutilations in Oregon. First of all, we have the VAA, the Vietnam Con, at number 1.
Of course, everybody.
Number 2, aliens, radiations, Area 51. Moving quickly down to number 3, we have witches. Moving up to the new format, we have Bigfoot, who's jumping around. Then we have those pesky devils, the devil worshippers, coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 6, lightning. Just want to leave that there, lightning. Just waiting for the thunder to roll in. Then we have poison / darts. Then we have those pesky humans. Then we have a couple that we can't say, so we'll just imagine that's 1970s top 10 music where you've got really cheesy DJ music going on in the background. And then we have, coming in at number 10, we have a force field. Moving into the top 11, we have those pesky vegans. Then we have tigers' calves are small, whatever that means. Then we have sharks with laser beams. And lastly, forget this, if you have a cat in the room, get rid of them, put them outside, because these will mutilate you. You'll wake up mutilated with no blood around you. Get rid of those cats, because that comes in at number whatever.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we couldn't have a Dark Mirror show without giving a nod to this article. But whatever's happening, it is incredibly strange. And it is a very hard case to... I've managed to enlarge it.
What, if you can enlarge it, what does it say on the post-it note?
It said, Druzy cows killed same way, all in forest, happened for 2 summers. During their era, a lot of satanic cults in Willamette Valley.
Oh, so we're talking... Well, that one should be just following up the leaderboard up towards the devil worshippers then.
Ah, yeah, that's what that says.
That should be between devil worshippers and lightning.
So that's what...
And the vegans go down. The vegans go down the list.
On the right. It doesn't give it any clearer. But basically... the sheriff says that the cases have been very tough with very little evidence and credible leads. He has inspected the 4 of the animals, and can't come up with any answers at this moment in time. But you did bring up Sharknado.
I can't believe you're going to bring up Sharknado. Sharknado is probably the first Sharknado film. It was after I watched a film which was about sharks that suddenly became humans. That basically they were in a place and they then they were flooded. The sharks can't get anyone. They grew legs and then they killed everybody. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden we got Sharknado, and anybody that has not seen Sharknado or any of the Sharknado films, they need to get off their posteriors, go into the real world. Go to Netflix, go to any streaming service and download any of the Sharknado films. Because you've got films that show Sky News. You've got films that show the people on GMTV. You've got people that shows you've got the Hoff. You've got Pamela Anderson. You've got sharks that appear out of nowhere that come down like rain.
Fantastic. It's great B-rate movie.
Get on the Sharknado. We will do a show on Sharknado, the history of the Sharknado.
No, we won't. That's one I'm vetoing that topic. But we are in October. It is Halloween month. Everybody's gearing up for the big day. And we have got some fantastic things coming up in the cinemas. Now, not only that, my favourite, this is I have to give this a shout out, because this is my favourite, Walking Dead Series 10 is back on our screens.
I watched an episode last night. I had no idea what was going. Hadn't watched it for a little while. But you have a human in charge of the creepers.
Whisperers.
Oh, Whisperers, sorry.
Whisperers.
I do apologise, and I do apologise. But anything I say that people take as fact, I would just like to say, please understand, look at the disclaimer before the show, that this is a light-hearted look at the paranormal. I am not coming on here and giving the gospel saying, hark, bow down to Carl Hutchinson. What I'm going to say is the truth.
This is true. This is true. I love The Walking Dead. I think it has been an absolute fantastic start to the new series.
So what's this Whisperer thing?
Oh, the Whisperers. They've set borders up. So all the little individual communities that were working together to try and resurrect some form of society in zombie apocalypse land. This woman comes along who puts a zombie mask over her face, and her followers all do the same, and has basically set borders and has restricted the communities, and it's all very nasty. All very nasty indeed.
Yeah, I watched an episode last night and I didn't have a clue what was going on. I was expecting to see the bloke from This Life, the English dude, but he wasn't on there. Then there was obviously, I I was expecting to see the one-eyed governor. He weren't on there.
No, that's ages ago now. God,
the
we've moved
guy
on
that
from
had
that.
the tiger, he was on there, but he didn't have his tiger.
No, the tiger died.
No, and then you got the other people that I didn't recognise who they were. But then you had the dreadlock lady with the samurai sword. She was wielding and cutting people's heads off.
Good. Yeah.
But then all of a
it's
sudden,
shown.
there's this woman standing on a cliff underneath another cliff, looking at each other, and I didn't understand what was going on.
Alpha. That's the lady who wears the zombie skin across her face, and they walk amongst the zombies. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic kick-off start to The Walking Dead, I will say that. It sets the scene beautifully for what's coming. I'm very, very excited to see how this series is going to go. I don't think anybody has actually caned it in any way, shape or form. I think it's living up to expectations, and it's only going to get better. The first in the series can always be a bit dull because it's setting the scene. It's reminding you of where we're at. It's also moving you on in time, and it's setting you up for the next storylines that are coming up in the new series. And I have to say on this one, The Walking Dead is living up to expectations, and I'm very, very excited about season 10 hitting it off. Now, another film that everybody is raving about, and it's getting some really, really great comments, but it's also being caned a lot. It's also being moaned about quite a lot, is The Joker.
Not seen it. I've seen the trailers.
Do you think it's done now? Do we think it's done? Are we getting a bit bored with the old
Well, it's Gotham. I think it's Gotham. And I like what they've done with the series, the TV series of Gotham, where they're playing like the Kingpin, and they sort of intermingle like the police and whatever. But obviously you've got the films such as Batman and everything like that. And I think they've just glorified. You got the Batman, and then you got the evil guy, which obviously the Joker's appeared several times in. But I believe the Joker itself is kind of like the birth of Batman, but on the evil side. So I think that's
so like
quite
a yin and a yang kind of scenario going
yin and yang,
on.
exactly. Yeah, yin and yang. I think it could be quite an interesting film to watch, and what I've seen on clips, because me personally, and this goes down to another show we did, which was about celebrity films that have had the star die during, which we've discussed in the past. Mm-hmm. Obviously with Keith Ledger, and he played Joker at the time he died. Mm-hmm. But then you've got this new guy. Keith Ledger, sorry. Not Heath. I thought it was Heath Ledger.
No, it's Heath.
That's what I said, Heath Ledger.
I thought you said Keith.
No, Heath.
Yeah, Heath Ledger. I thought you said Keith. There's me sitting there thinking, who's Keith Ledger?
I'm pretty sure I said Heath. If anybody listening, because I know you guys comment on the show, if I did say Keith, I do apologise, but I'm pretty sure I said Heath. But I know you guys listen on the show when they comment on past shows when you listen at 5 o'clock in the morning. So any information is good to hear. But yeah, Heath Ledger played the Joker, passed away during the filming of it. Then you got this new guy, and I think he is pretty impressive. What I've seen on the clips.
Wow, I haven't seen it. We're going to have to wait for our Mr. Rook to come back into the room, because I know Mr. Rook would have seen this probably about 4 times by the time we get around to talking to him about it.
Mr. Rook is our Barry Norman of the radio. He's like Barry Norman, like film 2019. He goes out to all the films. So yeah, and us poor mortals, obviously, that have to work. Ooh,
low blow.
No. He goes up during the day. He walks up at 10 o'clock and watches the film while everybody else is at work. But we're not saying Mr. Paul Rook doesn't work hard, because he does work hard. Just having a pull of his leg, and I just want to.
He'll slap him later when he's off his investigation. He'll give him a little crack. Don't you worry, it'll all come back round.
Exactly.
there are some other great films also being released this month. We've got Gemini Man with Will Smith. That's a cloning scenario.
Concept, yeah.
Who
Yeah,
could kill the best killer in the world? Only the killer himself. So they clone him and set him off against each other. And it's that awakening and that coming together.
Where you've got a young Will against an older Will.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, by the looks of it, what I've seen the clips of, looks a very good concept. It's a bit like the
Will Smith. Love
Alien,
that man.
Predator, Terminator type of thing, where they send somebody back to the past to kill the person or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But you've
So
also
we've got
got
that coming.
the Terminator film coming out.
Yeah, I've got to do a quick shout out for old Will Smith at the moment. I know he doesn't really need any help with promotion, but he is running something on Facebook called The Red Table. And basically it's the whole family sit around and talk about topics and it's called they call it the safe zone. So anything can be said at that table. And at the moment they're discussing their health. So guys, if you're interested in that, go check that out, because the whole family is going on a journey to improve their health, because he's had some health problems and they're all on pills, and and he's like, this is no way to live, I'm not happy with this. So they formed the Red Table. So guys, go check that out on Facebook, because it's great, and it's Will Smith, so it's got to be great. So yes, Terminator.
Yeah, all I want to know from Will Smith is, when is he doing or bringing back or some sort of remix of the Fresh Prince?
Oh, gosh, could you imagine that?
Well, no, because I think personally he's looking more and more like Uncle Phil every day. So I'm thinking a spin-off, either his son or another relative, but Will Smith is Uncle Phil.
You never know what might come up.
Carlton doesn't... Fair, whatever his name is, doesn't look anything like anything else. So he's still going to do the Tom Jones and that sort of thing, because that guy doesn't look like he ever ages. Can you imagine that spin-off? Will Smith as Uncle Phil.
It would be absolutely fantastic.
I
love Will Smith. I don't think there's anything he's done that I haven't liked. I Am Legend is the best zombie movie ever.
I Am Legend, I would agree with. There is one film... No, I'm not going to say it. Because I'll get slated.
Well, we've got Maleficent being released this week. Maleficent.
That's a film that I probably won't watch.
I won't watch that either. I'm not keen on the
But
Disney.
you've got the amazing, the incredible... In the first one, you've got Jolene.
She's in this one as well. Angelina.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, Angelina Jolie. Amazing. So I don't know how they're going to spin it for the second one, because obviously the first one was sort of the one everybody knew about. So I don't know what they're going to spin in the second one, whether it's just going to be a rehash.
No, it's basically she's brought up Aurora, and it's about, Maleficent letting go of Aurora coming into her own power, that sort of thing. From what I understand, from what I've seen.
Yeah, but also coming up, we don't know when, but we have Ghostbusters.
I think that might be next year, though, don't you?
Well, they don't know. They haven't given a name. They've shown the amazing,
fantastic.
Okay, yeah, we're still not 100%. How many of the original cast? We know one original cast member's not going to be in it, because sadly the gentleman's passed away.
Mm.
But you have got these guys doing I don't know how they're going to do it, because obviously you had the redone a couple of years ago with The Girls, which was a great movie. People slated it, but then people started to love it, which I think they need to do in the genre. So how they're going to... and they had obviously cameos of Bill Murray and all the other guys in it. So how they're going to do the original film... And I just love the clip where you see the barn, the thunder, the lightning. You get into the barn, you see this vehicle underneath a tarpaulin, then the wind blows. You just see Ecto-1.
Yeah, I know. It's
It's going to be amazing, isn't it?
It is going to be fantastic. We are going to be doing a Parasearch road trip to go and see that. That is something that's on the cards. We're all going to have a night out at the cinema to watch Ghostbusters. I think it has to be done. Anyway,
And
we are
one other
well
thing
running over.
One other film that we have to go and watch as a team, and that's the Simon Pegg.
Yes. God, yes.
the
Nick
one
Frost,
about
Simon Pegg,
Nick
Ghostbusters.
About
movie,
Ghostbusters.
About
being
Ghost
a
Investigations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they
Very
released
much so.
more information on that, and they've got people involved talking about proper equipment that they're going to use, taking the Mickey out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be another film. But Ghostbusters, I would say, is the film I am eager to watch, followed by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost film. Those are the two films I'm eager to watch. Whether it's on Netflix, it could be the reason I get Netflix, if it's going to be on Netflix only.
I don't know. I think that will hit the cinema. They're too big.
To hit the cinema to get the exposure.
But we are running out of time. We are
sorry.
running out of time. I want to give a shout out to a few people that are out and about in the field tonight, or not just in the field, but out and about doing their own thing. Kelly J. Ellis, she is looking at, going to see Impractical Jokers in Birmingham tonight. Not paranormal for a change for Kelly, but she's out there. The Spooky Sisters are at a vintage-style real cinema watching A Nightmare on Elm Street, talking of films.
Those girls, the Paranormal Sisters or whatever they're, Spooky Sisters, they're out every single night.
I know, they love it, don't they? They're brilliant.
Amazing. Those girls are absolutely amazing because they're out and doing stuff literally 24/7, 7 days a week.
They live and breathe the paranormal. They certainly do. You've got Daniela Honey. She is at Bodmin Jail, the amazing Bodmin Jail. A new book is coming on that, written by the lovely Richard E. Stepp.
Who's just finished series 2 of Paranormal 911.
Yes, that's right. The lovely Jacqueline Dixon, I think, has actually moved into the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre.
I think there's quite a lot of people have moved into that. Karen Frey, all these guys. I think they're turning in the museum into a bit of a commune for paranormal. Everything seems to be happening there.
It does.
I feel quite left out. I've not been there yet.
Well, I think that's something you're going to have to recitify we are going to have to recitify very, very soon. Our very own Neil Packer and Jane Rowley on a Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. I've got a paranormal hotel by the sounds of it coming on there. And Jacqueline Dixon, I think, has permanently moved in.
Like a conveyor belt of paranormal investigators. One in, one out, one in. Let's do a live here. Let's do a live here. Let's do a live here.
My lovely Andy Mercer, he is going to the 7th level of hell tonight. He is actually reading Dante's Inferno. Heavy reading heavy reading for a Friday night is what I would say.
Good to see him actually doing something and actually reading.
He's doing the Nameless Art Convention conference very, very soon. Listen out, guys, for more information on that one. I'll be interviewing Mr. Mercer himself, one of the organisers of that event. And I've been, not last year, the year before I went, and I'm going this year. I've already got my ticket. And Pamela Percival is at the Kempton Ghost Walk.
And can I mention a couple of people?
Of course you can.
These are basically friends in America. We have a few people in America at the moment. We have a friend of mine called Bill Reap from Reap Investigation. He is currently on his 8-month road trip of America, who sadly I should have met in Vegas, but we couldn't get the diaries mixed. But he's currently just set up somewhere in the middle of nowhere on Indian land. But he has a couple of investigations coming up this weekend. We have my good friend Scott Grimwald as well. He's going to be announcing some dates shortly. And who else we got? Oh, and our good friends at the Human Canvas, Saz and Aaron Lockyer. Aaron has just started his media page to do with photography and paranormal stuff and investigation of the museum. So go over to his page and give that a like, because they believe they now know officially, which is going to be interesting, they do have a haunting there. There's also our friends, where is it gone? I've got some friends who are currently scoping out Las Vegas, who missed me by a couple of days and are really sore about it. They're setting up a conference in November. They're currently turned up at the Zach Bagans Museum on Tuesday and found out it was closed on a Tuesday, which if they come to me, they would have found out. And they went back today and they couldn't get in because it was too busy. So they're queuing up again today. But yeah, everybody else, Desiree, who's on a road trip, and all our other friends in America, and Mark Cadman. Mark Cadman, enjoy your breakfast. It looks lovely. And that's all I want to say.
On that note, we're rounding up the show. We've been going for an hour and a half, Carl. We've overrun. I'm going to get told off by Paul.
Yeah, but we knew this show would always run over.
Yeah, of course we did.
Because we're inviting people on. We're talking live stuff that's happening on a Friday. We're covering the stuff, and then we're going to say hello to people. So
exactly right.
I'm sorry, if Paul's got a problem, tell him to come around my house.
Oh, there's an invitation for a party, I do believe. And on that note, we want to bid you a very farewell. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, join us on Monday on the Parasearch Radio Facebook page for the weekly roundup of shows, so you get to hear everything that's going on Parasearch for the week.
And you see Kerry, beautiful face, doing a rundown of last week and the week ahead. And remember, every night, 9 o'clock, some nights 8 o'clock for 2 shows. This station, Parasearch Radio, has a show on every night. Come over, and there is a chat room to get involved in the chat room as well.
Your one-stop paranormal place to be.
Buffet, because I've been to Vegas. One-stop Las Vegas-style buffet of the paranormal is Parasearch Radio.
Too right. And on that note, say good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.